I grew up in the United States, played baseball in college, started in Major League Baseball as a strength and conditioning coach in the Kansas City Royals player development system in 2013, and spent 4 seasons as a strength and conditioning coach, and then had the opportunity to start our sports science department at the end of 2016. Did that for 3 years based out of our Arizona complex in Surprise, Arizona, and then moved to Kansas City at the end of 2019. Became more involved in major league operations and front office administration for the last 4 seasons, so 11 total. Sure. So Major League Baseball has a pretty good training culture at this point, and strength and conditioning has been pretty strong in baseball since the 90s, and so that part is pretty well established. What's happened since, I would say, 2016 or so is efforts in athlete monitoring, in sports science, in interdisciplinary teams, like medical and performance teams, working collaboratively together, supported with a lot of new and emerging performance technology that allows us to manage athlete health and performance in a lot more objective data-driven ways. Has really exploded since 2016 or so, and now that's occurring across medical and performance teams, but also the support staff and the on-field staff over the last 3 or 4 years or so have really become a lot more collaborative, where we're not only doing a really good job of understanding how we're training, how their bodies are adapting to that training, but also what does this mean for performance on the field, and strength and conditioning coaches, sports scientists, therapists working with pitching and hitting coaches, and analysts from R&D staffs to come together around the player in a very player-centric approach to what can the athlete do, what are we trying to get them to do on the field, and how can we work together to make that possible and let every player reach his ceiling on the player development side, and then at the major league level, how can we get the most every single night out of every player. Yeah, it's been really cool to see the facility, to see the process, understanding how everybody's going about it, and I think this is a great foundation for baseball here in terms of facilities are great, technology is great, the process is great. In terms of really capturing a really good snapshot of the athleticism, the physical, athlete profiling of what can each player do physically, to provide a really good snapshot of that then you can use over time. Great foundation there, and also a great foundation on the baseball side to take that a step further to say, here's the strength, power, movement of a player, and then how do they use that in the context of their sport. Obviously, there's a lot to baseball, technically and tactically, but if you can get hitting and pitching performance and development right, then you're going to win a lot of baseball games. And so understanding what athletes can do and how they can use those physical qualities for hitting and pitching, there are really good pieces in place to have a great understanding of that and track that over time, both for the individual and groups of players to understand how to use that data to optimize development over time. Yeah, definitely. I think where my mind goes as I've toured around and talked to people and look at processes is you have the facilities and systems within Major League Baseball teams, but another thing that's used very, very widely in Major League Baseball is private facilities that are kind of spread out across the United States. There are a lot of them, and a handful of ones that do a really good job with testing and training and other things, and that's kind of part of where my mind goes as I look around here. This very much fits that type of model and resources as a place that the players can come from anywhere, regardless of team. They can come here and get these snapshots over time of where was I at physically, where was where was I at on the mound, what did I look like in the batter's box at this time, and have the ability to do these check-ins to see where you're at, formulate a training plan, go do that, test the process, like did it work, come back the next year. It's set up a lot like we see with those big private facilities, which are really important to player development, and we work with them a lot as Major League Baseball teams. In the off-season, players go all over the place, and so they're going to be doing different things with different people and different trainers and different times of the year. Having a consistent process somewhere where you can bring an athlete in, get a test, and understand like where they're at consistently over time is a really, really important piece of being able to understand how a player is developing, like physically and on the field.